Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I am your very humble host, Mr. David Knoll, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and it's milk and cookie time. I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. Really do. And I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and a bunch of blessings out there in the universe just run around waiting to help you with. Travis and Chloe, peanut butter jelly. Hey, Travis. I just finished my little Debbie cake with one of them fudge rounds, and I'm sucking on a little bit of milk right now. Now I'm pouring the rest of this milk in with my old coffee. Whoops. I got too many cups and everything around me right now, and this one's got a handle and it sticks out, but boy, does it hold a boatload of milk. So, how y'all doing? Y'all doing okay out yonders? I know it's a tricky world, and yeah, I'm going to be talking about my operation a little bit because it's sort of it's a base point for these topics that keep coming up, like tonight. Um, you know, if somebody said, "Dude, there's no limits on what?" First off, but there's no parameters. No, man, just go. Um, but does that make you a free person or a free Miss Pearl? I got to take some pills. So y'all hang out with me a minute. Um, I wanted to start at 1 o'clock on but I'm about this close to being ready. I'm a little slow moving, but everything's cool. Everything's great. I'm gonna give you the quick update. And I had a physical therapist here today. Ow. For an hour and a half at my house. Ow. And there are certain movements that will rip me apart at the moment. And they let me know when I've gone a little too far. Let me tell you. Everybody said, don't push it, Dave. I can't. Because when I get to that part when things start firing, you ain't going no further. If anything, you back up about 10 spaces. Wow, what did I do to my body? But I didn't. I thought today was Thursday all day, so that tells you where. And if Richard comes in, I've been thinking on the time travel thing because I have missed a whole day and not a clue where it went to. And now it's Friday, and well, now actually I guess it's Saturday. But anyway, what a strange trip this has been. All right, y'all just chat amongst yourself for a minute. Let's see. I got to take one of these. I was interrupted with by a friend of mine, which is okay, but I was just in the middle of sorting out. Okay, now 10:30 in the morning is about. I've been waking up about 10, and by 10:30, I'm wiping my eyes and I can take my meds. So at 10:30 is my morning for pills. So many of them are two a day. So 10:30 at night. Well, I'm late and I don't set my clock up. Twack, how are you, my? How am I today? I'm really in very good spirits, but I'm tired. I mean, it's like I've been loading watermelons for the last 5 days, and you're done, which I have done things like this in the old days. You've been loading watermelons for 5 days, and it's the end of the week, and you go sit in your chair and go, I'm tired all over, but it ain't a bad thing. The pain is relegated to how I move. It's not constant. Now there is constant soreness, but not constant pain. And I can deal with soreness. It's them sharp. If you see me go, oh, I just did there a second ago. That was a sharp pain, heading from my butt to my. It's not going to my ankles. It's going to the back of my thighs. But as long as I don't jerk, I don't have an issue. Um, so I learned a lot of things from the physical therapist today. Uh, we an hour and a half, but he was able to show me positions, and I do want to share this with you, with you, in that the spine comes down, and at the bottom, then there's your pelvis. All right. Because I have been walking crouched over so many years because of the back, there's a legitimate reason why I was walking crouched over. And he showed it to me today, which amazed me. Oh, is that why I'm all like that? And he said, but if you will shift your pelvis, I'm doing it right now. If you will shift your pelvis just a little. Now, you all know, those of you been around for a while, you've always heard me talk about core values. You got to have core values established. You got to have, in spirit, and all he could talk about was the core value of how to align yourself and your spine. Now, I was going to throw in the Kundalini and all that other kind of stuff. And so I was like, I'm with you, brother. So, but in the hour and a half that he showed me, I've already started practicing what he showed me as far as sitting up better. This chair sucks. I've added two pillows to try to lift me up better. This is a lousy chair. But in the right now, I'm just going to have to deal with extra pillows and stuff, and it's already helped. So his advice and his time has all I've already seen progress just in the last. Well, it's been 8 hours now. So, are there people out there in blessings and so forth? I thought he was going to take like 10 or 15 minutes, and we was going to try to walk across the floor. Hour and a half. Now that is an angel, to spend that much time. Now, for those of you, hey, Mossy Man, how many out there have watched South Park, the cartoon series thing with Cartman and all? Raise your hands. Um, How many of you know? I think it's Mr. Garrison. I think, and you might say no, that's Mr. Okay. Uh, the guy that goes, oh, all right, everybody, sit down, okay? Everybody having a good day today? Okay. And who is that? Is that Mr. Garrison in the cartoon, in the series? Because this wonderful South Georgia gentleman talked exactly, okay, exactly every sentence ended in okay, and nice man, just a nice man, just nothing special, but a nice man. But every single sentence ended in okay, and it was all I could do to not burst out laughing. Now I don't think he knows who Mr. Oh, or was it Mr. Mackey? Mr. Mackey that says okay. But anyway, but to the point, I don't think he's ever seen the cartoon. I don't think he knows what he's doing. As all I could do is just sit here and okay, yes sir, okay, and not bite my tongue. I don't have any teeth, but I could have gummed it off. It was so funny, but intelligent, very thorough, but okay, for an hour and a half, okay. So if you hear me break off into something strange, okay, then it's because that guy was here for an hour and a half, okay. Oh Lord have mercy, what a day. So the update on my back for those of you here is very, 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 very good. Another nurse here today took the bandage off again, and my buddy Rob, who's been lightning speeding in here and making sure everything's okay. Okay. And he said, "Oh my God, Dave, that's a lot of staples." He had only seen the bandage and not the actual wound. But there's no infection, there's nothing out of place. And the nurse today was amazed and just went, "I can't believe this looks it's good." That's all great news, right? So everybody's, "Dave, you need to focus on the power of the healing." If I focused anymore, I'd ruin it because it's already doing really good. Now, the caveat to that point is that starting today until the staples come out, which is next week, is the precarious time for infection. So they're going to wash it with saline and put a new bandage on it every day because the staples are trying to work out of my back, and as they work out, the little holes that they make to hold things together. I've had stitches and stuff before, and sometimes they ooze a little bit of something, and drain. And so, but from today till the staples come out, they want to wash it every day. Before, they just slapped a band-aid on it, nothing went on it. But now, so more care has to be taken with the wound, which is doing so good. They're like, okay, so the healing works, my friends. The healing has worked. But, you know, maybe I'm being too cocky. But these next few days until the staples come out, it might be another week for the staples. And the nurse said I can take them out right here at the house, which surprised me. But um, I'm going to take care of this, and if it looks great now, I'm just going to keep it that way. The nurses are coming to wash it every day and redress it. So as long as it stays great until it heals well enough to take the staples out, I have, in my opinion, I have healed. So got to get over. It's not a hump. It's just time, and I understand that because the pain that I'm having is 85% muscular, and so the muscles are growing back together. They're talking to each other and relaxing. I'm doing meditation to focus on, my little nanobots and the crew going down there, working on the cables and, how whatever the envisioning this is. But I'm positive the prayer works. I'm positive the energy has helped me through this. I'm positive of all these things. So, and I will be reiterating this until y'all be sick of me. But, well, you need to focus, Dave, on healing. It's working extremely well. You all should be proud. I'm serious. Y'all should be proud. All right, pill time. We got 5 for a 20. So anyway, with that preface and update, which is current, oh, my blood pressure is good. They both checked me individually. And hey, Stacy, how you doing? So checked my blood pressure. My blood pressure is good. Now my feet are swollen, which is unexpected, and that's bad because that could give me a heart attack. And I just put my feet up, and I got a little stool here, so I'm working on everything they asked me to do in order to not, to stay well. So, but talking to the physical therapist today is what's prompted little. It took me 14 minutes to get here, but in this, he said, well, if you can do that, go ahead. I was like, okay. Well, what about walking to the door? Well, if you can walk, then go to the door. Kind of stupid, but So at the end of it all, he never said that there are no limits. What he said was, your limits are as much as you can do. without put. We all know, I ran track, played for. You got to stretch before you get warmed up before you run, and you in stretching, you're pulling them muscles just a little bit. You're stretching, and so with that said, I'm sitting here and had Sheila, the neighbors, and all came. They've been feeding me and coming down. I could not ask for better assistance and help. Okay. So all the Soul Tribe has helped. People are calling me, and also Miss Sheila, because she's been in the chat before. All y'all been doing wonderful, okay? And I've told Sheila, I've told her this evening. I said, I'm all them folks in the chat room. I tell them because honestly, they brought me food, they did me this, and blah blah blah. So everything that folks have been worried about out, you all out there, it has been taken care of. And in ways I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. So, angels have been popping in from out of nowhere. Now, if they ain't spiritual, if, I'm sorry, there's no way that you could convince me otherwise that angels and I got to finish taking pills. Um, that angels have helped me, are still helping, and keep to keep me healed because everything looks great. How can you do better than great? Let's be satisfied. But the fact that everything is going that well, I'm the one that's having trouble with adjustment and back and stuff. I just didn't know it was going to be this freaking painful. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Okay. I knew it was going to hurt. I knew it was going to be sore, but son of a biscuit eater. But I got it, you know. And in fact, one of the pills I'm taking is a pain pill. I think I'm due. If not, it'll help me sleep good. I tell you what, I got a better idea. But anyway, thinking and working with what the physical therapist showed me today, I'm sitting here going, he told me as long as I could do that, that there's no limits. Well, you could do that over there, but if it hurts, but to the end of the conversation, as he left going up the driveway, I was like, there's nothing he didn't tell me not to do anything. Where all the other therapists were like, Mister, no, you can't do that. Oh, it'll be months before you can do that. So sitting in this chair and him sitting in that chair right there, we went through a whole list of exercises just sitting in the chair. And later on, I'm going to do those. I'm going to do a video. I got to set it up. It'll be in the daytime more of some of these simple exercises for other seniors or anybody that's got lower back problems. And because it's appropriate. But anyway, so as I'm sitting here adjusting and doing, I was like, no limits. Wow, that's freedom. Well, wait a minute. But does no limits actually mean freedom to other people? Now you all know I spent time in jail and all that. And after this time in the hospital, as much as I wanted out, I was in a prison. I was in a prison of pain. I was in a prison of this has to be done. You're not getting out. You're going to stay here till we fix you. It could have been life threatening in that because I have a heart problem, if I had thrown a clot other than where it was in my back and it went to my brain, then I very well could have had a stroke or it could have caused a heart attack. So it was serious, but not life threatening serious. But if it had thrown if that big clot had thrown a buddy and it got loose, it's very possible I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. So that's why 2 days of pain, and they worked me in a week ago makes a week today makes my the anniversary of my second surgery. All right, so I really don't want to talk about all that. I really want to stick with after 20 minutes. Oh, it's time for a 20. Ooh, let me swallow my pills. Because I've been lurking in some other chat rooms, and I think it was yesterday I was in R. Wayne's and listening, watching other people's chats. And there are folks in there like, oh, we live on a prison planet. Oh, we're all, we're all subjects of the will of these people. And, and Wayne was sort of talking along the lines of, you know, who the God of the Bible, and why should we bow down and worship this guy? And okay, so with that said, in that, excuse me, 20 time. Cheers, everybody. And under the circumstances, I'm doing extremely well. And thank you for your prayers. Okay. I'm here to tell you, thank you, thank you, thank you, because it works. I know it don't work on everybody, but you know. Grease monkey. Mm. So no limits. I'm thinking of field. I'm out in the country because I'm one of them country boys. A country boy can survive. But you're out in the country, and so there are no limits, or no quote boundaries per se. But there are farmers around here, and they all got fences, so you could hop the fence. You could wander around on their property, which I have done on occasions with some of these 2,000-acre plantations. Just to wander around, right? So, but there's all this open space with fences. Now, does that constitute freedom? Okay. What the hell are you talking about, Dave? Well, there's no limits. Sky's open. As far as we know, there's nothing to keep us from going up if we could. I've dug a lot of holes in the ground and ain't, nothing stopped me. I've crawled in a lot of caves and seen some stuff and wandered around under the ground for, 10, 12 hours at different times in different caves. So my experience is much different than a lot of other people's. But in the thinking of this, where are the boundaries? Are there boundaries? Is it a ball and chain? Well, somebody says, well, I have to stay in my neighborhood. Okay, but you're free to go, but you got to stay in the neighborhood. So there's freedom with conditions. So I, I'm sorry, I'm using my physical therapy in my particular. So I'm free to go wherever I want. Your limitations are endless. But for me personally, as other people, well, your options are limitless. But are they? It's the case of function. So yesterday and today, I had function issues. So even though I was free to go anywhere I could barely make it 5 feet. Still limitless. Still, I'm still free to go, but you can't. For whatever the reason, I'm just using, my physical condition as the example. But there were times when I wasn't physically handicapped in this way at the moment, to where I didn't have money to go somewhere, or my car was broke down, or there were other reasons. Even though the world is limitless, couldn't get there for whatever reason. So in this same world, the sky and the thing, everything is limitless. And my eye-opening thing this after number two, the surgery, is that I don't think people, Dave, they don't understand this. Oh, everybody says I can do what I want. And I can't do this and I can't do that. Well, because maybe because it's you're a dutz and an airhead, and what you want is freaking stupid. Because let's be practical about this. So, in practicality, we can do anything we want. Um, are we in a prison planet or whatever, and all that? I used to believe that about 8 years ago. And the more I drifted in towards the shaman, uh, rather than just spiritual, I started realizing it doesn't matter if somebody thinks they own us from another planet because we're still little ants running around down here. No offense, guys, but who gives a crap? Y'all promised us shit and it ain't happened, so never mind. You know, we're supposed to have starships, who expose themselves by now. Not a freaking word, not a thing, blah blah blah. All the things the aliens were talking about through different channels ain't shit happened. Okay, I'm disappointed. On Wayne's channel, I think was talking about how they're supposed to be here and we're all going to go away. Ain't happened. I used to think, oh, they land in New York. Now, if they land in my yard, I might go with them. But if they landed in a field near town and said, everybody come, let's go for a ride, I don't know. I'm sort of questioning that now. But whether this planet is a prison planet or not, it's in your belief system because I used to believe it. Okay. In fact, I even did a video a couple of years ago about one of the aliens who had given an interview. And in it, she said that this is a prison planet. People are sent here and there are all this stuff and da da da. And I bought it. Now, I'm not saying that they haven't used this planet to dump folk off or something, whatever. Uh, Probably. There's some desert freaking places on this planet. Hey, drop him off there, off the side of the spaceship. What's that blue thing falling from the sky? I, that's not really funny, but it is in a morbid sort of way, maybe. Oh, there goes another alien. And it ain't a Mexican or a Canadian. When I was up in Canada, the places that I went into factories and observed the processes of things. So I'm in this one plant up there, and wonderful people, but everybody was Russian. I, they spoke broken English like this. And I was like, "Where are you from?" I'm from the Ukraine. I'm from Poland because I'm talking to the ladies and working on their machines. And I mean, there was quite a few people in this plant. And there was a Canuck over here and one over there and somebody, and then the rest of them were from Islam somewhere. I didn't see any white Canadians, and if they were, hi, how you doing? What Basas these? They were Russian. But anyway, but they were wonderful people. And when talking with one of this lady, I was there for 3 days in the plant. And so I'm just talking to this lady. So, I've never been to Canada before. And how did you immigrate here? And was it difficult? And what do you like? And she goes, I like Canada because everybody different. And we all come to Canada to get away from where we live. And here we can do it. Canada, we have freedom. Well, okay. I got that. So Canada has now become the land of the free and the home of the brave. Because them folks are brave enough to put up with Canadian winters, and so have my hats off to them folks up in Canada. But if people think it's a bunch of white people running around up there in Canada, we could be invaded any minute by a whole rash of Russians. But they don't want to come. I was like, you want to go to America? No, too much trouble. We like it here. Yeah, but it's cold. Yeah, but I am Russian. Okay, honestly, that makes a good point. But so here's it's that little story right there still ties into my point about you know there are no limits. But they were told in Mother Russia they had no limits, but there were boundaries. So they went to Canada. I'm sorry, I'm just used to saying it that way. I mean no disrespect, y'all. But in that they could actually, you know, bring Mother Russia with them in spirit. So whatever they didn't like about the government, whatever, that was their limiting power. That's what kept them back. That's what kept them in prison. Now in Russia, they might have actually went to prison, but in the grand scheme of the world, there are folks in China, a lot of folks in China. It's a vast country. They are all tied to the emperor, but in that, they can still travel and move. Well, more so out in the country and all. They limit children and things, and they're very brutal, absolutely. But there are brutal people on this planet. No, wherever you go, they're brutal policemen that have whooped on me for no reason. Uh, Prison guards, I got in it with one when I was in jail. So you know, these folks are just not. They just don't fit in, and so they lash out, tear up, and everything. But with the prison thing, so I realized the second time that it was there. The message for everyone, and especially myself, is listen. No matter where you are, you're free because the universe is limitless. And I went, oh, so all of these people who are talking about limits, they're looking at something on a microscope. They're on a microscopic level. I'm stop mid sentence. Wait a minute. No, not microscopic. The I guess microscopic in comparison to the universe. Okay, here's us down on this planet, supposed to be a prison planet, out here on the edge of the galaxy, far, far away, uh, and nobody knows us out here. We're so alone and afraid. Okay, but um, and isolation can absolutely be a prison. You know, you're just there and ain't nobody around and it ain't bad, but you're isolated. But you're free to go. Yeah, but which direction? Well, if you're lost, you don't know. So, but you're still free to go. The sky's blue and you can go anywhere you want to, or any direction, just pick one. So it's up to you to make that choice. It's up to us to make the choice as to whether or not we consider our situation a prison. If you think of yourself a showing of child and an entity of the universe where all things are possible when you believe, then, well, I don't know, they won't let me in the park over there. Or something is an asshole. And they come up with some reason why their world is such a nasty, well, there are nasty places, but they focus on how bad it is. When I was in jail, I know I'm referring to it, but when I was in jail, the more I thought about how much time I had to serve, the worse it got. Your gut wrenched up. You couldn't do anything. You wanted to punch somebody. But then after sentencing, when I knew I only had 7 months to go, it was like, oh, because I was facing 20 years. So, but I realized that the prison's in my mind. So, if I kept focusing on, I got 7 months or I'm going to get 20 years, I'm going to get, And, that will kill you. I was in prison within a prison because of how much time I would have to serve. Thank God it worked out the way it is. But in all of that, as I've talked about, there's a mindset to it. Even though I was in prison, I accepted it. I accepted the time I was going to have to be there. But I also looked beyond it. Now that's where if I pulled the card Hawk, that hawk looks at the horizon, off in the distance, to the future. Who am I? I'm Hawkeye Two Feathers. I have to look off in the distance, not just for me, but for everybody else, because there are so many people floundering out there. There are a lot of people who are listening to who are listening to folks that got some hanky panky going on. Not they're on a path. Oh, that's a good word. Superficial. They're trying to teach a good thing. And oh, if you do this, and oh, you got a lot of can, you got to spray yourself with some kind of oil, you got to do this and that. I've lived 70 years and didn't do none of that special shit. And all things considered, I'm very healthy. Why do you need all the old ladies that were in the thing and that chatter around that are in their 80s, still driving their cars around here? Healthy as they ain't taking none of that stuff. So I think people, oh, that it's a prison. Everybody else says if I take that, I'm going to live longer. So they get it in their mind that if they don't have it, they're going to die sooner. You follow? Well, if I don't have that, I'm going to die. That's a prison. Okay. In a lot of ways, that's brainwashing, but the bottom line is that it's a prison. It's a limit. Well, it's open. You take our special magical power powder, and you'll live forever. Well, we're going to live forever anyway because of reincarnation. Stop fussing. uh, you know, just lead a good, clean life. Um, but the prisons are more now than when I was growing up. And talking with folks my age, we go. I was born in '52, so I am a child of the '50s because I do remember. I remember some of the '50s. I remember somebody said something about Milton Berle. Oh, Wayne. He said he met him. Well, I didn't meet Milty, but I saw Uncle Milty on TV in black and white because I'm 52, 6, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. In 57, I was 5 years old. 58, 59, 60. So I can remember back that far. Not a lot, but glimpses. So, and Uncle Milty and some of the shows, TV, and that's where I got into puppeteering because I watched the Howdy Doody show. So that's how memory works, and that's how far mine goes back. But there are a lot of the changes that have been made since then, and there were no prisons like they have now that trap you into wanting to buy something. Prison. Well, I need that Sega over there, or I need a PlayStation, or I need the latest game. Really, we went out in the oops, sorry about that. We went out in the street with a stick and a ball and an old bicycle rim, and chased each other up and down the street and had a ball, playing hide and seek and stuff like that. Simple things. But folks today, if they don't have some kind of electrical device, it's their dependence, but it's also their prison because they got all their info in there. They got all this. But I got to check my email. That's a prison, and so it's many people don't see it that way because it absolutely is a perception thing. So the first thing you have to do to get out of the prisons and to find out because the universe is limitless. You have to believe that. You have to move yourself into this. So this is why this is a shaman lesson, really, truly, for anybody who might be watching this at the 40-minute mark. This is important because you have to establish what you think are the limits and start with the universe is vast versus I'm on a prison planet or I live in now you might actually live in a big city and that you feel the walls crawling in around you. Okay, I absolutely. And but everybody has the opportunity to change it. Well, I wanted to move to somewhere, blah blah blah, and I'm stuck here. I have said that very same thing. Okay, I understand the feeling. It's hopeless. But see, after all these years watching other people, mind you, not just myself, I've adapted the situation because you have to. Oh, there's an opportunity, take it. Well, what about this or this? Do you really want to remove yourself from the prison, or do you want to worry about something over here and you end up getting stuck again? That's your choice. It's not somebody else's. Now you may be influenced by other people, and those people with good intentions will keep you in jail for whatever. Well, I hate to see you go. Okay, guess what? With that statement, some folks might actually be working against you leaving. You understand? So, and then that puts you now you have boundaries and limits where now the sky isn't a limit because you have somebody's put a leash around you or put a tag on you, And anyway, so in this shaman lesson about this, then, you, going back to the physical therapist today, the incident, his energy, his knowledge has prompted this video, and it absolutely means a lot in the shaman journey because you have to find your core value, which sets your limits if there are any. And if you understand that the universe is limitless, all you have to then your focus should be simply how do I navigate through it? How do I navigate through this stuff? It's limitless. I can go anywhere. I can achieve any thoughts and things and stuff. So the trick is, how do I navigate through this? Not that you're in a prison, because even in prison, you have to navigate through stuff. With lawyers and this and that, you have to navigate your way with other prisoners that want to, you know, pump you in the butt, pump you up, or somebody gets pissed off at you and they put soap in a sock. So there 3 or 4 bars of ivory soap. That's the best they could do for prisoners, and put 3 or 4 bars of ivory soap in there and start swinging that sucker. That'll hurt you. But so first you decide whether or not am I really in a prison, or has someone convinced me that my situation is a prison? Because we're influenced by so many different things. So the smart person will sit down quietly in a shaman kind of meditation, however they want to do it, and contemplate that. Well, what do I do in a situation like this? I don't know. Why don't you just hush? I don't mean like shut up. No, I mean just hush and let the quiet descend upon you. I'm sitting here in a situation. I know the universe is vast. I know there's an answer floating around out there. Please help guide one to me. That's a pretty simple prayer. And it just needs to be that simple. I'm asking the universe. Oh, you're not going, oh, sweet Jesus. I'm stuck here. Now the other day when I was in that MRI machine, I was doing that and I was meaning it too. So there, there are, I think, appropriate times to cry out. But folks overdo it. And if they would realize where they think they're stuck, they've actually created the situation. Um, Here's one example. It's a quickie. What time is it? It's almost an hour. I'm gonna quit at the top of it at the top of the hour because one of the things I'm trying to do is not go long. Go long, Dave. Um, but years ago, and I had a conversation with one of the nurses in the hospital, and then it came back up with a visiting nurse. But anyway, about cranberry juice. Now, early on, cranberry juice help your kidneys. They still do. So dang near everything I bought because I'd had kidney issues. I still do. I got a dang big old cyst on my right one. But cranberry juice, cranberry juice, cranberry juice. Man, I was drinking. I had a whole wall of bottles of Ocean Spray cranberry juice in different flavors, and then a couple of and I was peeing hard and it burned and this and that and like, well, I thought so. I drank more of it, right? And then a couple of years later, they came out with this thing and they said men should drink cranberry juice in moderation. With women, okay. So I'm just pouring this stuff in me because they said cranberry juice was good for the kidneys. I had kidney issues and I did my medicinal thing. And I gotta say, there were times I drank a little too much one day because I was thirsty and it was hot. But in the long run, I should not have been drinking it at all. When I stopped drinking the cranberry, anything cranberry in it, cran apple, cran orange, I was mixing and matching my own. I'd buy a great big bottle because I was working outside a lot. So I'd make a great big bottle of orange juice and grape juice and this, and I would mix and match and and put them in smaller bottles and then put them in the cooler rather than try to buy a big flavored one. But anyway, but when I found that out, it wasn't a 10 days after I stopped drinking cranberry juice, my kidney issues at that time went away. So you can overdo what's supposed to be a good thing, turn around, and it's actually bad for your body. So there are people out there, and I'm going to use the word sell. They're selling their wares in that if you do this, you'll be more healthy. Now I look like an old miner. I still have to get carded to get cigarettes now. But that I'm going to do this to stay healthy because the cranberry juice is the absolute truth. Well, I can't remember how far back, but I don't drink anything with cranberry juice in it because it's the p. It was about pH to men and stuff, but to the point though, I was doing it to be healthy, and it was too much. So I think inadvertently, people are doing things because they have heard that it's healthy for you when it absolutely might not be at all. Now, you've heard me talk about the water thing about distilled water. Well, there's starting to articles and things are starting to come out. Distilled water will leach the minerals from you. So our dear friend Ken Isby, and I've said this and I've told him too personally, I'm wondering because of his trying to get better and cleaning his body with distilled water, has he pulled all the important nutrients out of his body, which has helped his cancer and everything? It's exacerbated his own condition. I'm not saying necessarily it created it, but it would have helped in the environment to make it worse. We need them minerals, and if you're drinking distilled water and it's pulling them minerals out, it, doom, despair, and agony on me. That's doesn't sound necessarily like a good thing. And I've met Ken; he's a great guy, and I hope that did what I hope that his behavior with the distilled water did not contribute to his condition. I'm gonna leave it there. But for folks who still think it's a good idea, stop it. Pay attention. Uh, we need to be careful with what some of these people are selling, meaning, oh, this is a great idea. You do this, you'll live forever. We're going to reincarnate anyway. So come on, do the best you can in this life. I had to readjust. See, it's all about posture too, buddy. I can't slouch. And I have learned to slouch over these last 10 years. I've learned to slouch very well, and it's bad posture. But so anyway, I'm going to cut this, wrap it up. But there are so many different layers of what a prison is. But if you don't have to focus on it because it's everywhere. That's the universe. But you have to constantly be aware of it. And once you get used to being aware of it, um, wow, the universe is vast. Just keep that thought, you know? As you keep the thought of the vastness, then things are truly limitless. Now, I know that there are governments and stuff on the ground that lock you up. I know. But I mean, even in those situations, as I've been incarcerated, you can find freedom. And it is in a mindset. I mean, all of the prisoners in Auschwitz and all of them, those people in some ways, because you've heard me talk about my friend Marcia. It was her grandmother was in Auschwitz. Okay. Okay. Yeah, she was. She was in Auschwitz. Okay. And the stories and things, she said, it was rough all the time, but we still found pleasure in things like carving little things out of a piece of wood. And so even in the darkest hours and etc. Now she would have been I don't know, a little girl during World War II, but she died a couple of years ago. And they, as a senior citizen, they recognized her, and also as a survivor of the concentration camps. But to have to discuss stories with people like that on a first showing up firsthand basis, that's got to be the worst prison in the world, right? Auschwitz. And gloom, despair, not joking. But for the people to have found solace with each other, making little things out of bits of string and stuff they found to cheer themselves up, and others, those people, I can't necessarily speak for them directly, but those people had the higher power. Those people saw above the entire situation, regardless of how bad it was. They could see above their imprisonment, and they knew they were still free. So decide with yourself as a shaman core. You got to establish your core if you're going to take that shaman journey. You got to establish that core, realize that the universe is vast, and then learn how to negotiate through it. That we're not in a prison unless you accept that. Is the earth a prison? Most of us are running around free on top of it. It's the events and our willpower and who we are and what our goals are down here as to our movement and as to whether or not we're in prison. There are folks who are in debt for 100 years. That's a different kind of prison, but it encapsulates them. So go down the list of what things you think are putting you in prison, and then decide whether or not you really are. and keep in mind that the universe is vast with all kinds of opportunities, and say, wait a minute, maybe I got this. Just maybe I got this. So I love you all, Mossy Man, Chloe, and everybody. Uh, but this is a lesson in this. And if you got to the end here where I can say goodbye to you all and thank you, it really is an important lesson because too many people are floundering. I've seen other people who are meditating and stuff. Then they ask me certain questions, and I know that somehow that it's like nyum, there are things that just went right over their heads. They just missed it, and they're still seeking something when it's standing right next to them. So I love you all. Thank you for the prayers. They're absolutely working 110%. So I will talk to you later. I owe everybody a card session. So you too, Travis. You doing all right there, brother? What was that up there in America? Just since you're sitting there, did what I say make sense about boundaries and etc.? Was it clear enough to understand, or am I just babbling? Because my meds are kicking in. Okay, I need a little outside. Hey, Dave, you're wandering. Okay, at least it gives somebody some contemplation. I want to do maybe 30-minute or an hour like this shaman tips. So for anybody, rather than trying to listen to a thing I want to try to stay on topic, and I think I did. I, 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 I I think I did at least try, you know, tonight. So more improvement down the road. But um, after this second operation a week ago, there's just some spiritual stuff that came. They knock you out until you're almost dead. So you're out there walking around in the ether. And I know I was floating out there, but I don't know what was going on, you know. Um, but coming back to reality, it's like somebody it's like somebody took a a package of sticky note pad, to stick them everywhere, and it's like, all right, here's a little tidbit for you, like, are you in prison? Here's one, blah 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 blah, and so they're posted notes all over, and now they're like, whoop, one of them fell, and I go, what's this? Oh, a posted note. Oh, so I'm sure another post-it note's going to fall, and I'm going to go, oh, here's the topic for today, or this is what we want to focus on. And I'm also going to do some things about seniors because I learned a lot today with that physical therapist, and I really do want to pass that along. So, but I wish we all could just sit down and let me, you ask me questions if you're, what was it like, or what are you, I don't, and maybe that's stupid too, but it seems like there's a big conversation because of the second operation. I mean, spiritually with other people, having really nothing to do with me. I'm just the messenger. But things are going to be unfolded. Hi, Michelle. How are you? I'd like to know more about your guides and what guides you to say the things you discuss. Okay. See, you're asking a question, and I would love to talk about that because that's one of the things. And here, this last 2 days, I'm sitting here in my normal chair, and the connection was so clear this afternoon, I could almost audibly hear them, which is mostly an impression. I can hear them say something. And, but yesterday and earlier today, I mean, it was like I could hear them. It was like a microphone in my ear. Yeah, I mean, hearing that thing. Anyway, but It's all good. One of the things that I realized that they were like, tell folks out there to quit believing in things on the other side of the planet that doesn't affect them. Stop getting involved. And you've heard me talk about this, but it's a biggie. Too many people are using their energy unwisely by worrying about shit that they got nothing, they can't help it. We all need to be cautious. We all need to keep our eyes out. But there are folks that have gone down rabbit holes and they ain't come back up. So hey, what? And here was the analogy that I got: whack-a-mole. So the people who are seeking more than they need to know, so they're going along with white magic, and then all of a sudden somebody says, "Hey, if we try this, we might be able to conjure up a thing or do something over here." And them folks who want to do that, they need to stay in their own groups, and most of the time they do. But I left Tampa because of that. That they were. I mean, I saw a sphere appear in the sky inside of an apartment and float across the room and hover like this and land in the middle of the carpet. And they had two Siamese cats, Lynn and Lucy, and those cats would not go near that spot in the floor ever. We could take the cat and throw it over towards the spot, and they would kill themselves, tangled and scream to not land where that sphere had landed on the carpet. So I have witnessed some really creepy shit. And at one time, I tried conjuring a demon. I was talking with Barry on the phone about it earlier today, and I said, I've been worried since then. As I was doing the ceremony, I got to a point, my little voice that said, "You better not fucking do that." What the fuck are you doing? Stop right now. Quit. Stop. And I was like, boom, three-quarters of the way through this conjuring, got the circle, got the candles, doing, and I had gotten the information, guess where? The University of South Florida, and it's the school library. I couldn't check anything out, but I could read any book in there. So I just go get a book off the shelf and go, and they had a whole section on witchcraft and demonology. Now, this was 1971 and 2, okay, at least 70, 71. I don't think earlier, because I left home and did a lot of roaming and to go to the library at the university. And the university, it was really new back then. There wasn't a lot of buildings and stuff. But anyway, but they had one hell of a library. When I found out that they had this whole section, I went in there and started copying down spells. I made my own book, and I learned all these things. And then when I moved up here to South Georgia and we lived out in the country and everything, I kind of sort of picked it back up. I didn't really leave it, I just didn't do it. Well, then got married, had my son, and so that kind of sort of put not really a brick, just a ramp. And then when I saw, God forbid, my wife and parents and their relatives around here are Church of God. They are holy rollers. They speak in tongues. And one Sunday, we're there with the family. I mean, this was early on in the marriage. Oh, you think he's a Mason? I don't know. But one of the things is that I like the guy. I do. He's got I agree with him in a lot of ways, but there's something that just don't sit. And for those of you who remember Brian and how Milky and the first Milky Way. We talked about it off air. We even did a couple of shows early on his and discussed some of the things. One of the topics was sigils. Oh, and try this and use your own magic, and it fried a couple of people. And I warned them, you don't do this because I got fried. I got fried just looking into it. Just by copying the sigils down for research, I got burned. And you got, oh Lord, so I'm not against Wayne. I'm actually rooting that he stops trying to go wherever that is. Look over the fence at it, but don't go there, you know. And I said so, I think, last night in the video that I did. Don't do it, you know. He he's never referenced me, and he knows who I am, how much friends we were with Brian. And when we had an anniversary with Brian on Milky Way show and Andromeda with Teresa and them, um, he was invited to come in honor of Brian, and he didn't show up. Well, but I was on the roster because Brian and I had become such good friends. And I'm still friends with his mother. And I know that Brian was with me in the hospital there, at especially the second operation, which was just a week ago. So, but I don't want to. Okay, this makes sense. I want to save him from himself because there are so many things that are almost identical to the things that I did. And I ended up on this side. I would never tarry across where that line is. And maybe it's because he wants to keep people interested in his channel and he's running out of ideas. And so I can see that. Let's talk about this. But to kind of sort of like get everybody on board with him to believe it, um, he did some things about sexual stuff and stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that's just wrong. No. I mean, look, I run around naked down here on my property, and I don't care if you run around naked neither. And I was a part of a nudist camp many years ago, but I got my own nudist camp here. It ain't a colony. It's just, but to the point though, to have used sexual energy for some and to do this, I just like, whoop, got to back off there, Dave. Got to back off. Because now you're dabbling, you're using, well, never mind, but hopefully you get the idea. So I don't agree with that because you're using external things and whatever. Now, if you and your mate, when you climax together at the same time, there is absolutely energy there. I have absolutely been shoved into the astral plane with a partner, um, usually a wife. But I was not very promiscuous. I just wasn't. I wanted to find a mate, and me and her live happily ever after. That just didn't happen. So it's okay. But in the whole thing of things, though, the wives that I've had, okay, I'm not going to be graphic, uh, but in that when you have that climax between the two of you, and there is that oh my God moment, um, that is very powerful. Not just in the sexual way, but in the spirit and what you've done. So there's absolutely stuff there. But to try to use that for a spell or a something or whatever, you say, "Hey, baby," and I did this with one of my mates. Let's try to time this together, and how great it feels. So that moment, that thing that you're creating, if you're going to use it as magic, it's between you and your partner. And for me, it was how me and my partner got closer together. That was the magic of the moment. You feel so close to that person and to the universe that it goes, "Dun." To me, that was love. To me, that was how you stayed connected to your partner. And that was the magic of that sexual moment, not pre-planning the sexual moment to do some other thing. No, I'm sorry. Now I didn't get into it. I don't know the specifics, but when he started going down that road, I just couldn't follow. I'm like, see you, you know, I still like you. You still got good ideas, but see you, you know, everybody to their thing. Um, but for me, nope, sorry. And I grew up as a child of love, and you know, we got caught. I got caught humping with a girl in the park one time. We were both on LSD, and the band was great. And the next thing I know, somebody's tapping on my shoulder, going, y'all mind going in the bushes to do that?" I was like 17, you know, um, humping and bumping in the middle of in middle of the jam session in Tampa. Yep, so whacked out, didn't know. And I'm like, what? People are looking like, good job, man. Yeah, that would have been 1970. But as far as, there were orgy type events because it was just like everybody wanted to try it back then. But as far as me being a type of person that wants to go to orgies and participate in that, no, I just want to mate. I want to hunker down with with a good woman and let's get it on together. But I don't want anybody else involved because I'm just that way. I'm old fashioned, I reckon. But anyway, we got a little bit off track, that which is okay. I'm kind of sort of at the end of what I wanted to make. March marked out Lucky Stone. I think Wayne is working with some group that he never talks about. Uh, it I get that impression. I can't validate it, but it the other day just watching how he was kind of sitting and stuff, and it's like, well, this and something something, and it was like not necessarily what is he hiding, but what is it that he's not saying? If that makes sense. And I don't watch him all the time, but I sneak in, watch the chat some. I'm sorry. I love y'all. And if there's something that seems a little funky in there, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna stand up and go, nope, please don't do that. I was involved with Wayne's, and that was terrible. I will never work on any other project with Wayne. Oh, I did not know that, Lucky. I don't know about that project, but it was terrible, huh? Oh, you're so right, Mark, about Trina. And I didn't want to say it, but you brought it up. She's one of the ones, and I love her. I do, I do, I do, I do. And we have so much in common, but she's one of the ones that inadvertently. Now I'm using this loosely as from the old west days, kind of thing. Uh, snake oil, and it's not really snake oil, and it's not, but developed a sort of philosophy, if you will, or a change of thought that is the snake oil. You know, it's the topic. And I've seen Wayne draw, oh, Wayne, so this and it. He really good up to a point, and then there's that ding, and I don't know what that ding is, but a lot of us, and I didn't know that y'all had any uh, these types of things going on because I try not to get in somebody else's business. But since I was in the chat yesterday, I feel obligated to be able to say something. And I did in the chat. So, as a participant, If Wayne come over here and got in the chat, then he can talk about what I talk about. I'm, because, you know, anyway. But in the long run, and Brian right now is going, we want to save him. We want to save him from ourselves. And in doing so, I didn't know Trina was being pulled in, but I noticed a change in her, and I was like, wait a minute, that little flighty stuff over here, that's snake oil. Where did you pick that up? You know, you're doing so good over here. It's almost like, you know, a, this is a bad analogy, but a race car driver, and he needs emblems and backers, and somebody comes along with a good idea and say, here, put my sticker on your car, when actually they're like he 666 and you know and and you ain't that way. So it's a lot of stuff floating around, and I think I said this yesterday, but I'm going to keep repeating it. It was exactly a year ago. What's very close? What did I miss? I'm sorry, Mark. Will you help me out? What where did I read that? I wish you didn't pull Trina in. Trina is powerful. She will always try to help fix his delusions. But here's the thing. I agree with you. Powerful. She'll always try to help. But here's the thing. She's being deluded from a different delusion. That's why she has started selling snake oil. She doesn't know it. Not a clue. But she's selling it too. Not on purpose. He, on the other hand, may be. But she don't know what has attached oh, this is good, blah 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 blah, and it ain't that. It was doing really good. Biz. Then she got pulled away by Wayne. I would agree. I agree with you. I ain't gonna fight about this, but I would agree. We love our friends, right? So shouldn't we talk about how we can help them? To keep them from driving off the deep end or whatever it may be. I I want to be critical to the point that, goddamn, don't do that. It's dangerous. We like you, Don't be stupid. Versus criticizing them to gain an upper hand or to belittle them. No, I think in some of these ways we are crisis interventionists in this. And thank you for y'all bringing this up, because I really do care about other folks. And you know, a lot of folks don't know that I tried to conjure demons back in the day. I've talked about that I dabbled in it, but unless I talk about that specific things, and unless you heard that video that I talked about me trying to conjure demons. And here's the thing: I think I brought one halfway through, and when I cut it off, I think something lingered, and I don't like to talk about it because if I did do it and it's lingering, I do not want to give it any kind of energy. But there have been times like, did I turn something loose? I got the hole open. Did something crawl out? Because being a novice at it, tinkering with shit like this, and I was doing it right. I was doing it right by the book. And I got the recipe from an old ancient book that was in the library at the University of South Florida in Tampa. I was surprised they had that kind of shit in there. Oh my God, they had books on demonology where the book was leather and carved, and I mean it wasn't just a paperback or a hardback. This shit was funky, and they had a whole section, and that was in 1970 and 71. But anyway, a lot of dark magic down there around Tampa and St. Pete. saw it then and moved out away from it. A lot of goth folk moved in, and Tampa's known for the goth thing. And I just no, I don't want to. No, sorry, I grew up there, but I don't want to be known. Oh, you're from the goth city, you know. Well, and some of the other artists call it, "Hey, Tampax, how y'all doing out there?" If you tell a child not to touch the hot stove, most time it will work. Oh, not work. Will not. You're right. Don't touch that. Yeah. You're right. Once a child first touches the hot stove, they learn quickly. You can't save most, even when you do it perfectly. Which brings up the old joke that I've talked about before. This, city slickers out in the country, and he's walking around. He sees this guy over there, with a hammer and a blacksmith, right? And he goes over there, and the gringo's asking him all kinds of questions, and and the blacksmith, he just want to fix horseshoes, and he's pounding on it. Now, they will lose when they lose their redness. They're still hot, right? So he's pounding on this thing and giving it his last, and kind of tosses it over on the table. And the gringo reaches down and picks it up and throws it right back down. And the blacksmith says, "Well, what's wrong there, mister?" And the guy says, "Well, you've seen one horseshoe, you've seen them all." Now, to a southerner, that's funny, you know. Well, you seen one horseshoe, he picked it up and it was still hot, dumbass. But so, and also in that analogy, just because you can't see that it's hot because the redness had gone down, it doesn't mean that it still wasn't dangerous. You know what I mean? So, and in his stupidity to like be, well, I want to know about this and how do you do this and picked it up and right back down. You seen one horseshoe, you seen them all as the excuse. So in this analogy of the world, well, you've seen one, you've seen them all. Now, they're asking me to go back to my whack-a-mole. And then I really do want to cut this short. This is a really good conversation. Y'all help me and I'll plan one and we can have an open discussion if you want. Okay. We'll pick a time and we'll do I, it, we, I can't do the share screen stuff, but I promise you I'm working on it and this computer is messing up bad. And I think I'm gonna have to get a new one and that might take a little bit. But in the meantime, you could call the house and as a call in and do a live thing like that about these particular subjects. And we don't have to drag Wayne into it, but we do need to talk about the subject. Oh, yeah, okay, the stove. So, but anyway, absolutely. And there are some things that I've talked about years ago that people have come back and asked me specific questions on stuff. And I'm like, you say you've been listening and hanging out with me all this time. How many times have I talked about that right there? Or somehow it's got gummed up and twisted in their head. Really simple things that are just twisted up. How did you twist that thing up like that? It's just simple. It's this right here. Nothing more, nothing less. But people have reached a point in their lives. I talked about this last night, but it's important. They've reached a point in their life to where they think they need to know more. Well, they do, but they need to sit down and contemplate what they've already got because it will unravel. The whack-a-mole thing is, I got to shift. Oh, darn it, that hurts really bad. But I got this, y'all. I got it. I've got it. I'm gonna be around for a while. I would love to meet some of you people and go fishing or kayaking or have a campfire like Brian. I want to meet some of you folks. So I grew up on the carnival, right? And all different kinds of games and things. So hey ST, how are you? Oh la peeps. So I'm in my brain, I'm looking at this sideways, and it's got a slight angle on it. and underneath it are these puppets on springs that pop up, the molds. And I can see sideways where they're at, and they're and badoing, badoing, you know. So, and then I can also see it if I move a little closer and kind of come up. I can see the edge of the plywood, and I can see each of the holes where the moles are. And so there's a tabletop of these. Now, the tabletop is the separation between these good guys, bad guys. Now, don't worry about one being under, that's not it. So here's the piece of plywood that is the separation of, if while we're down here, we're all love and light and everything's groovy. As soon as we pop our head up, we're in another dimension, we're in another realm, we're under different rules, and we can get whacked. So when people want to do some of these things, and guess what? You open a portal, okay? So as a whack-a-mole, here's the group or the person down here on the spring. So you do your ceremony, you do your thing, and pop up you go. So, but here's the thing: you're in the other realm. You stuck your head up into their world, and you're asking for something to come back with you. Okay, you think you know what it is, but do you really? Where your hole is, where the whack-a-mole goes up in, the entity might live on the other side of the planet. So you're whack-a-mole and going up and down, going, "Hey Jude, don't make it bad." You're looking for the entity when that thing might be long gone someplace else. So since you don't know, and you're bouncing up into their realm like a whack-a-mole. You come up, you look around and go, "Whoa, anybody out there?" Boing, come down. Okay, but doing, you go back up, look around. Hey, what about me? Now you don't know shit from asshole to endhole. Why? Because this guy over here is portraying, or uh, you know, it's like going to the airport with a sign. Are you Mr. Smith? Everybody looks around and goes, "Ain't nobody in." "Yeah, I'm Mr. Smith." He ain't no more Mr. Smith than the man in the moon. So you're popping your head up like a whack-a-mole into their realm, but you've got no clue what's going on, expecting to get whatever you're supposed to bring back, and you're at the mercy of the whole plane of existence up there. It's down there, but you get the idea. It's the whack. So you stick your head up and you get whacked by the ones who say, "Oh, look, dumb human." They attach to you. "Hey, ST, walk into work." "Oh, I do, ST. I got this. I got this. I'll be running around before you know it." "Hey, Lucky, I cut off all connections to it all at the end of the project. Lucky, would you be willing to call me at some point? Not now, but talk on the phone? Because I would love to hear more about this because I'm uninformed. But I would love, but in and talking in the chat and stuff, it ain't getting it. My phone number, a lot of people have my home phone, and it's listed in the phone book. David Noel, Moultrie, Georgia, at Zion Grove Church Road. So I ain't hiding. You can find me. But I would love to talk to you. Okay, if you want to, But I would love to. I would love to talk to you about the project. Um, my guide my I say my guides. A lot of times I say my guys when actually one of them is female, but uh now that's funny. It was, "I'm female this time around." I got you. And whatever happened this second operation a week ago today, something happened. I I can almost hear them in literally. It's not just the thought. Uh, Something's changed. It ain't bad, but I have obvious two operations, 1 week, 7 days, and 7 hours to from the second one, and now it's been 7 days since the second operation. But whatever I met or did out there in the dream walk, something's changed. It's all good, but something's changed, and I'm great. I'm grateful. Every time I looks at the staples on my back, they go, "God Almighty, bunch of them," because it's 8 inch long. Oh, I didn't. In case you weren't around for that, so this lovely little young nurse comes in the other day, and she pulls the bandage off, and I see she pulls out this, you know, paper tape measure, right? Starts at the top and goes down. And say, okay, so how long is it? She tells me in centimeters, and so I go, okay, so how many inches is that? She goes, well, I don't know. Now on the tape, the other side of the tape is in inches. I said, Um, you don't know how long it is in inches? No, this is only in in centimeters. That's how I report it. And I said, flip the tape over. Literally, just turn it over. What's that? And I said, that's the inches side. She had no idea. This young lady, nurse, qualified and everything, had no idea that that tape measure had inches on one side and centimeters up on the other. Now I say to myself, what the hell is this world coming to? Uh, because when I told my sister that, she goes, "We knew when we was little kids when Grandma was making us clothes. They had back then they had two sizes of the paper tapes. Oh my God, education! They're overeducated in some areas, and they have zero practical skills. Flip the tape over. God Almighty! It's not hard, sweetie. What are those numbers? What are those lines? They're inches. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Uh, oh, so the whack a mole thing. So people who are dabbling in arts of the wrong sort, they're the ones that on the springs, they're the moles. And the universe, wait, back up. Um, as soon as they stick their head up, meaning they complete the spell, that's sticking your head up. Because as soon as you complete the spell, then that alerts the entities. Hey, some dumb motherfucker over there is doing a spell. You can smell it, hear it, taste it, and off they come. Because that time I did that um, uh, full moon ceremony in my backyard down there on the river, entities were called upon and invaded us, and it was mayhem. Instantly. It was me. The dog, my little dog Sasha, went nuts. She was such a warrior. And it was a big some bitch. It was a big entity. And scared the shit out of a bunch of us. But there were people there who were dabbling in the arts, and they didn't like what Joe and I were doing because he was teaching me how to be a shaman and a medicine man. That was unacceptable to these white people. When they said, "Oh, we love it," they were actually conjuring demons and things to assault us. And there were a bunch of people in that ceremony that night, and people got hurt, uh, almost physically, but the there were stages that I was doing within the ceremony for all the people. And I had gotten about 2/3 of the way around. And these folks were fine, and these folks weren't. And this thing came in wherein I was making the transition because I would take one person out of the circle at a time. We would discuss they in the ceremony, the medicine man takes one person at a time out of the circle, but because I am the circle or the medicine man is the circle, you take she takes the circle with them. So the medicine man says, "Okay, what do you wish to get rid of?" And they've had thoughts or whatever I had instructed them for those who had a particular problem, oh, my depression, my this, whatever, but to just write it on a piece of paper so they could physically throw it away. Now you can physically throw it away with the thought, but you got to be of a higher mindset to really get that. But written on a piece of paper and throwing it, the action of that. And then with this hand, what do you wish to receive? So the right hand is receiving, the left hand is getting rid. And so the right hand says, which do you receive? What do you wish to receive? So in that, you're supposed to have a little bit of cornmeal, um, and maybe a piece of sage or a bit of tobacco, and release it as a gift to receive that which you wish for. Now I'm getting kind of high with the medicine. Did that make sense? Mark, here's the thing. Some of these medicine men that I have practiced with and sat with, uh, you know, I just had this wave of, yeah, just sitting with some of these men and a couple of women, but sitting with these men, just sitting with them. I'm talking about just sitting with them. I emphasize this, their power, their energy, their presence. I'm sitting across from this guy, and he's like, hi, very nice, friendly. We'd talked before, but when he got in, when we were inside the teepee lodge, and things got more quiet and solemn, I was like, dude, it was like somebody else walked in the room. Very, very powerful without ever saying a word. A little old granny lady, 90 years old, her presence, it was just like, it was like she was 7 foot tall. And I mean, she was a little granny lady. And her and my daughter rode together. We missed the bus in Tullahoma, and I had to race to Nashville to make sure that they got their connection because they were both going towards Cincinnati. Anyway, but with that, had several hours. I my daughter and I talked to her off and on through the event, the 3 day powwow. But then we just got a chance to just bullshit with her in the truck. I mean, she was, sitting right there kind of thing. And what a sweet old lady. I wish I could remember her name. And she was the one that could do these fine beads and needlework without even looking at them. And she had the energy of 10 soldiers. Oh my God. So, where am I going with this? There is this power in the universe. You can't see it, and people who aren't aware of it. But the people like, and even Koshka, the legend keeper that I know, there was a presence about him, especially when he started telling the legends. He got very solemn, and he got his Indian on, if you will. But he wasn't putting his Indian on as a mask. He became that Indian. He always was, but in his character, and I've known him for many years. He used to sit and watch me do puppet shows, when there was an event going on in the circle, a lot of the people around and the vendors we just stopped what we were doing and kind of walked in behind and listened to what was going on. If there were dancers, we'd sneak up behind the bleachers and peek through, because if there was something going on, nobody was walking around doing stuff. And I didn't do a show because there was an event going on. Anyway, but that got me to see a lot of stuff. But also, since I we were all part of this group, we got to talk and know each other. And then I could say, hey, what in that dance you just did, why did you do that little move? And so there are little things that hanging out with these folks. But anyway, the people here who swore up and down because I want my property, there's a sign at the door that says the Little Ochlockonee River Hermitage. And and last year at this time, Michael came down here and helped me, and he sent me an email. He went to the Ukraine to teach English, and he's coming back to America. It was a great experience, but okay, nothing up, I reckon. But anyway, he's from here. He met me on the YouTube channel. He had the guts to come down here and meet me and go kayaking and go in the woods. He helped me with projects around here. A really great guy. And so this journey for me is not just my journey. I realize the importance of me being here because I interact with other people. So, and that's what one of the things the sort of the Mother Mary entity was kicking me about. Like, you have no idea. I hate to use the word, I hate to use this word. Hawkeye, you have no idea how many people depend upon you. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to accept that. But now I do. Now I do. We have a friendship, we have conversation, we can talk about shit together. And I do really honestly care. I do. And I understand how strong that power is. And when it's all said and done, I'm going to take off my shirt and say, see, here's the power of healing right here on a cantankerous old 70-year-old man. You can do it too. But how much faith do you have? Do you really have faith? When people are saying, well, Dave, you got to believe. Look at my back. That's what I believe. It's healing. Ain't nobody else out. The nurses said, Mister, no, we don't. Most people are dripping and drooling and blah. And even when I was dripping and oozing goo, they didn't know where it was coming from. It's just gone. And it quit the other day. Haven't had any more goo come out of my back, which is a good thing. So, but other people are still in the goo mode, and I'm not. Well, Dave, you got to focus on healing. It is. It can't be any better. Power of the universe. Do I over believe it? Do I believe too much? Can I believe, well, I got this to the point of arrogancy? Now I've went through that and they warned me, you know, um, take a breath. Because yeah, you're right. It is the healing. It is the universe. It is everybody. And here, and I told my friend on the phone earlier. I said, I feel like I'm a poster child. Like, hey, you know what? You too can heal if you have the right mindset. You too can learn how to walk again. It, you know, depending on your conditions. But how many people, and I've studied physical therapy and used to teach it. I wanted to be a physical therapist. I did drugs instead and missed the boat, so that's out. But he was very impressed with my knowledge of physical therapy. And we could talk on like-minded terms without him trying to explain, well, Mr. No, you got to put your left foot in, and then you put your right foot in, and then your left foot out, and you shake it all about, and you do the hoochie coochie. Oh, I'm sorry. I drifted off, didn't I? But anyway, oh, lady, well, oh, it's weird because all child spirits on ghosts says that says that's, wait, whoa, back up. because all the child spirits on Ghost, child spirits? I watched Ghost. I didn't know there were child spirits. Is it in this new season? That's very, I have learned a lot from you, Hawkeye. You're welcome. And that's, I'm supposed to share. And y'all got a question? You want to go this way with the conversation? Please let me know. That's why I'm here. I'm a guide. Okay. I'm not some kind of, I don't know about the mentor part, although I have mentored people. But and y'all can come anytime you want to and quote mentor if that, if you want to learn some specific things that I can't necessarily do here, show up. We'll, get down to some nitty gritty, some real enough, show enough medicine man shaman stuff that I learned over 10 months. Now, I didn't learn it all. I'm not an expert. That's why I say I'm a shaman in training. But after looking back over circumstances, apparently I know more. I know more than I thought I knew as far as details and things. And these two trips last week, I think somehow with all the pain and everything was to reiterate, Dave, Hawkeye, you got a lot of information in there. Like my sister and I talked, she goes, Dave, have you, what about that mattress I brought you on your birthday? And I went, what mattress? You brought a mattress here on my birthday? Yeah, I mean, I would, yeah, a big foam rubber mat. Have you used it yet? And I was like, you brought a foam rubber mattress? I remember her coming on my birthday, but I don't remember any stinking, foam rubber mattress. She goes, yeah, it's upstairs. Well, you can't get up my stairs, and I can't get up those stairs. But I told my friend Ron, I said, next, when you come to pick me up to go to the doctor's next week, will you go upstairs and see if there's a mattress in there? Because I still don't remember, but God bless my sister. So there are things that literally passed me by. You would think I would have seen a mattress come by, not a clue. Not a clue. So sometimes in the world, and and I'm telling on me. So as observant as I try to be, just natural Hawkeye, shit can go right past you. Big things like faux mattresses, you know. So be careful. A mattress might eat you. But in the grand scheme of stuff, this trip through, because I've had to heal the wound twice. I've had to go through the pain twice. I had to go through the procedure twice. I mean, double down, yo, you betcha. So, but I've learned a different level of patience, if that's possible. Um, I've learned another level of patience in my head. And it's like, well, that would have pissed me off. Yeah, but it didn't. But I also learned because I had to stand up for myself because they were throwing me out of the hospital too soon. I learned a lot about the system. And me and some other folks, we now I've been asked to be the spokesperson. So I'm going to be doing some videos. Uh, right, right, Mark. How do I miss a mattress? No, when they got here, we were smoking and hi, how you doing? Happy birthday, Dave, and all that. But a mattress, and I got a winding staircase right there. It takes two people to get shit up and down that my stairs. That's one reason why I don't go up there. I'm sleeping over here on the couch on a pile of uh, a pile of cushions and sleeping bags and stuff to get it up high enough. It's a horrible arrangement. Just right over there, my bed. But I can't get upstairs and there's no room down here to put a cot. The house is too narrow. So I'm doing the best I can and I'm here and I'm healthy. I'm in a really good mood. I can't wait to I don't want to say invalid, but this is a short-term invalid state. Most ghosts are boring. Well, ghost shows tend to go place where spirits. Want to interact in the most interact feed on fear. Yep, that's true. When you speak on the same level, it makes things. Is that supposed to be interesting in entering? Oh, it was in the afternoon, but absolutely, that was no good. Yeah. Let me tell you. But anyway, what time is it? Oh God Almighty, it's almost 2 hours long. How did another hour go by? Time travel. Where's Richard, the lion-hearted? We were talking about time travel. I have missed a day this week. I don't know where it went. I mean, honest to God, this is Friday. Now it's Saturday. Wait a minute. Wait just a damn minute. What happened to Thursday? Well, that was yesterday. Well, obviously. Well, where's Wednesday? I lost a day. I was, earlier before I started this live stream. I was trying to think back. Okay, who came? Who came yesterday, or was that the day before? And so this mix of meds I'm taking at the moment is messing with my head. I remember the other night when I was doing a live stream and and I realized that I was tripping and I was no longer in the moment here, but I was somewhere because I was talking to this lady right over there. And then it was like, oh my God, I'm doing a live stream. That was creepy. I want to watch it because I want to see where the transition was, you know. Uh how did I drift off? And is that the day that I can't find? You know, it was Thursday. Well, it wasn't that like yesterday. But see, it seems like it was the day before yesterday that I did that. Uh, what? Time travel? I don't know. Whatever it is. So in all of this stuff and trying to like get my head back, this is Saturday. What? How can this be Saturday? And see, actually, I've been lying then. I've been saying it was a week ago today. Actually, it was a week ago yesterday. Whoops. Oh, I've been telling everybody today it was just a week ago. And it was a week ago yesterday. See how bad I messed up? See, I've been out there. But um, one of the things that I've noticed, and I'm going to discuss it with the doctor, and I told the nurse here today too. I said, you pump your patients up. Not that it's a bad thing, and I'm not picking on the nurses, but I was mainlining morphine for pain. I was mainlining every 4 hours, 2 cc's of steroid. Every 6 hours, I was getting these great big honking, don't know the name, muscle relaxers. And on to top it all off were 2 little cherries of Oxycontin. So they sent me home with the Oxy and nothing else. Well, I'm finishing my uh, steroid pack right here. So I've got 5 more pills to take over the next 2 days. I'm at the end of that. But they were mainlining it here in my arm. You know, I still got the bandage scar kind of thing. And my arm hurts. There's a great big old thing right there. That's where they had the hole and the thing and the thing. So they were coming in and shooting me with juice. So I was hyper inflated, I guess you could say. But it's this good thing. We want to send you home. Well, I was doing laps in the hospital with the walker. And then I went from feeling really, really, really good in the hospital and walking with very little help and no pain to son of a bitch, I can't move. Now, what changed? What happened? My body is going through withdrawals from what they pumped me up. And I talked with some other people too. All of us have had, my buddy Kenneth and my sister, my folks down in Tampa, who just had surgery again. And so we're on board with this. And in that they pump you up so much. And then when you get home and you don't have, your body doesn't have access to it. That's why I feel so tired yesterday. But today was like, because your body, I mean, for 10 days, I got all this good, juicy stuff being shoved in me. And they say, send you home and go by. But they send you home to go by, not understanding what the patient has to do when they get home to withdraw. They're going to be withdrawing from it. So, but the patient doesn't know. I had no idea what that steroid was doing to me. I was roided out the other night. And, I hurt some people's feelings. And it was like, what the fuck did I do? And then when they were telling me, and I trust these people, they've been friends for 25 years, they said, Dave, you were roided out, man, and you did not do it. You didn't want to hear about it. You were, I got this, I got this, I got this. And they were like, you were very rude and crude, and we didn't like your tone of voice. And but we know you, we love you, and we knew you were going through this spot yesterday and today. And looking back and hearing that, I was like, I'm mortified. I spent my whole lifetime not to do that kind of shit. And you mean I did? Must have been good drugs. That's really no excuse, but that is what happened. And thank God everybody was kind enough to understand my state of being, and they forgave me for it. That's what good friends do. But anyway, so this has been an interesting road. We got 4 minutes before time, but I want to smoke a bowl with you. Yeah, I'm going to keep on smiling. I got some stuff. Um, uh, One of the things that has opened up after the second one, which was a week and a day now. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm skipped a day. But most of you know, I have mentioned that I've done puppet shows and things. I lost it. I lost I lost the music that was in me. There was always something coming out of my head. Y'all have been around when I break out into a song. It was constant and all the time back in the day. I was always, what about this one? I mean, just me sitting in a truck, I'd go off, and it left. It just disappeared. I've even talked about it a few years ago in that all the doors that I was trying to find out where stuff is, I found that door, but somehow it's kind of edged closed. But the lady at the hospital, Miss Jazzy, that I've talked about, her personality and everything, and I heard her singing down the hall, and I started singing along with her, and I thought to myself, now when was the last time I just opened up and belted out a song like show tunes? I've been on stage and dancing and singing. I was in Swinging on a Star. Would you like to swing on a star? Carry moonbeams home in a jar, and you're better off than you are. Or would you rather be a fish? I can't remember anything else, but I remember that part. Well, I was on stage singing and dancing and doing that kind of thing. So, but somewhere along the line, that music and the it left. The second operation, I woke up singing, which surprised me, stunned me, and then flabbergasted me into a great big smile, saying, Thank you, folks, for bringing it back, because I have damn sure missed that portion. To break out into a song and to share the harmony with somebody. And we harmonized, and she was down the hall in the hospital. And we're harmonizing along. And that feeling of the harmony which I used to sing with the choir, and we used to do events around Thomasville. They had a dear friend of ours through the theater. He was a graduate of the Juilliard School of Music, and he resided down here in Thomasville. And he played the piano for us as an accompaniment for many of the shows that we did. And he was funny. He loved, Monty Python. And here's this guy, he's all strict and everything, hanging out with the elite in Thomasville because he plays the piano for all these events and all these things. Anyway, and backstage we're telling Monty Python jokes. Had he had a stroke. We thought we lost him. He could only play with one hand. We encouraged him to come, to keep coming to the theater regardless, and it got better and it got better, and then one got loose and it killed him. But what a wonderful man. And I've had the opportunity to do one-on-one training with him, but he was just a wonderful man. So in the scheme of all these things, there is energy from people you just never would expect. Here's this guy that's he can play anything and just by ear. I mean, classical concerto kind of stuff. So once a month, our little group would go to different churches and perform whatever songs. And some of them were church songs and some of them were contemporary. But, singing with people and getting that harmony to the universe. So I'm glad it's back, literally. I don't know. Here's something for you. Here's something for you. Did they have to cut me open a second time in the area of the Kundalini and all that? Not only did a hematoma arise, but did they miss something? In other words, that demon or that entity, I don't know if it was a demon, because I was like, what am I going to do with a demon? For whack-a-mole, So, did it actually attach to me? And was it somehow connected in blood clot? Something to the people who were doing active voodoo and stuff against us? Did something get attached to me there? And the second washing was the spirit washing. The first one was to fix the bone. Great job. The second one, because the hematoma popped up. Now it's a 50-50 chance with people. Not everybody develops a hematoma, blah, 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 but I did. And the chances of anyone getting it are more slim than not, and actually anymore. But here we go. So, spiritually, and from a shaman's point of view, was that second one that shaman death. In order for me to be like a real shaman, you got to go through the shaman death. I thought I already had. Maybe this time around, that was actually it. I don't know, speculation on my part. But in the washing out, I mean, they split you open and wash you out with a pressure washer. Honest to God, you're naked and they turn the table sideways and they open you up and pressure washer your ass down. I mean it. That's what they do. So I saw the equipment, you know, and I was awake long enough to hear the pressure washer come on, like, clean me out, doc. But anyway, with that pressure washer, though, and the hematoma, was there an entity attached in there, like the one that swiped my music? I'm postulating. I'm just like, why did I have the second one? And after the second operation, how come the music came back? There's a correlation there? Look at the rest of the story, right? All kinds of ins and outs and correlations. So I don't feel like I was possessed. I know that years ago I had a walk in because I was such a mess. My angel folks stepped in and said, "No, no, 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 no. You got more to do here." Not a clue what was going on. Um, but I could physically tell that I was different. And this guy was more businesslike and wouldn't tell a joke. Imagine me not telling a joke, especially if the opportunity, I'd make an opportunity to tell a joke. And this guy was like, "No, we're not going to have that." But he straightened shit out in my head, in my body. And that's when I became the tribe of one. And he became the camp counselor in here. He's the one that, yeah, well, you better go ask the chief. And he's standing over there with his hand on his hip going, "What you want, boy?" "Well, me and the other guys, we want to go try this." And he goes, "I'm sorry. Y'all go back to your rooms." That's a dumbass idea now. Get. And, he hasn't been mean, but he has been strict in my tribe of one of thought patterns and things. And when something comes up, he'll pop his head up. He'll be nice and quiet and let me roam around and do my thing, you know. But if something looks really stupid, he'll pop his head up like a whack-a-mole and go, "Dumbass." And I'll know exactly what it means. I raised the ire of the chief. But back to the whack-a-mole thing. Oh, you miss Benny Hill, me too. He was weirdly funny, right? Um, and I did a play, and I couldn't remember the actor's name. I tried my best to be Buster Keaton. So if you know who Buster Keaton is, he's like my idol of silent movies. But I didn't try to mimic him. I literally tried to be him in that his mannerisms, his facial expressions. I didn't want to copy him, but I watched a bunch of stuff. And then when I did this for this musical that we did, during the musical, I never said a word. So one of my favorites was Buster Keaton. And so I became Buster Keaton and talked with my face. It was a blast. And people were like, "God almighty, I can't. You were doing Buster Keaton, weren't you?" Yep. Now, some folks might say, "Well, Ben, Dave, you got a really big ego." Well, for me as an actor, to be able to I put everything I could into the characters. So for some, the job for me was not to be famous or anything, but a lot of people knew who I was. And a lot of them have died, but there's still people who, "Well, you were in Tosac, Thomasville on Stage and Company." "Yes, I was. Thank you very much." "Oh, you're the guy that did the puppets," because I did puppets around here for years. So, uh, you know, but I wasn't famous, but folks knew that's the puppet guy. Anyway, um, not being able to do any of that because of my back and the fact that it may be fixed and I might be able to do puppets again. Um, the second operation brought music with it, and I'm grateful. Oh, am I grateful? Because I've been looking for it. I mean, seriously, where the hell are the songs that used to come out? Where are the jokes that used to just pop up everywhere? Where are the little diddlies? And I'm sitting here going, "Come on, I know you're out there." But whatever it was not loose in the universe for some reason. Uh, And I looked really hard. I have been looking. I think Michelle and I discussed it at one point. That I've lost the music, and I don't know where it's at. Well, that second operation, I can hear the music now. There are bumblebees. It's fun. I'm back to me again. At least in that. And it's like, wow. Hey, it's like pat yourself on the shoulder and go, "Hey, buddy, I missed you." Wowzer, where the fuck you been? I don't know, hanging over here in the corner or something. But anyway, the second operation, again, I'm speculating, but as I'm just allowing the thought about why'd y'all do that to me? I know physically hematoma, but there's always a connection and stuff. So what was connected to that hematoma? Could it have been that a residual of that which I did long ago? Could it have been because the entity was so powerful during that full moon ceremony? I mean, this son of a bitch was huge and menacing. My tiny little poodly dog was just a barking, I'm going to eat you, she said. Um, and was something attached then? Because they were actively trying to attach something to me, myself, and I, and to Joe, with witnesses. Yeah, we got out the Ouija board and they asked the spirits what they needed to do, and they come up with this formula, and they've been sitting in the back of the trailer up there doing it. Now, last Christmas, not this previous Christmas, but the one before that, she was out on the hill up there. Hi, Dave. How you doing? Oh, guess what? I have lung cancer. Oh, good. What are you doing smoking a cigarette? Well, I got heart disease, and what am I doing with this? I haven't lit it yet. But a couple of days later, she was dead. Now she's the age. She was like 50 something. She would have been the age of my daughter, because her daddy, we're the same age, but a couple of months apart. We are both born in 52. So it's like, you know, she dabbled in black magic, pointedly trying to cause harm. She got lung cancer and died at the age of 50 or 51. I'm still here. But there was a couple of other people who were working with her, okay? So I don't know of their demise or if they're still alive. But in that event, with the demon and the thing, did something grab a hold of me? Because it kind of sort of did. I'm trying to rid this some bitch out, get him out of the circle. I'm trying to get the people out of the circle so they're not affected by this giant behemoth of a thing who's doing this rah kind of shit. Very scary. And in real time, too. There were a couple of other people that saw it. Joe and I saw it. The dog saw it. But people are like, what are we running from? If you can't see it, you don't want to know. Be careful with what you wish for. But before the interruption, the people that I had reached all had positive outcomes from the circle. So had like a 90% success rate, because people, what do you wish to get rid of? I wish to get rid of this, toss your paper and do a little blessing with them with some sage, and then they accept the what is coming next, which is like how to fix a problem, or I need $20, whatever it was. But 90% of the people that were able to release and accept, they all had positive outcomes. And one was like, called me on the phone a week later. Was, I can't believe this actually happened. It actually worked. I was like, what? Blah, 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 blah. So there was power in the ceremony too. But when they interrupted it with those, they were doing they weren't participating in it. We had like seats and benches over there for folks to watch, because they'd never seen a full moon ceremony, and it was my first one, and I was being coached, and everything was we'd already done a dry rehearsal a couple of times, so this one was like, okay, you've practiced it before the full moon. Now it is. Now go forth, my son, and do it. And it was going great. I mean, I'm not bragging. It really was going great. And it was fun from a my standpoint as a dancer and as a medicine man and as a healer. And here I'm, and then afterwards, people calling me up going, can't believe that shit worked. But anyway, with that said, the demon, did he get me? Was there a residual? Because I've done other things down there and I got cocky. I am Hawkeye Two Feathers and I am the protector of this land. Get the fuck off. No, you don't do that. No, 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 no. I learned that lesson, but I learned more from that too. You got to work with them, some of these dudes. You try to make them you show up forcefully. I'm going to defeat you. They're going to whoop your ass. You whack them all, some bitch. They're going to beat you to death. Every time you stick your head up, they're going to be right there to smack the shit out of you. And folks, well, I got this. No, you don't. That's why I used the whack-a-mole expression earlier. So folks want to dabble in stuff, they stick their head up, and the demons, spirits, entities go, there's a live one. Let's go attach that to that one. Or let's go mess with airheads. And they're airheads if they keep trying it, okay? So long story short around all this, the old David is back. How are you? Hey, Durams. I'm doing great. I am. The physical therapist was here today for an hour and a half. We sat down and had wonderful, constructive criticism and talk about the body, the spine, and motion. And I realized that because of my condition with the spine, I had started scrunching over and bending over like an old man, you know. And in that, my body has learned how to do it wrong. And I think I mentioned this, I don't know, before. I'm going to have to learn how to walk again. And so in his, we didn't go up, we didn't do all these legs, we didn't do any exercising, but he did go, we went through all the range of motion things. And he said, it's all in the pelvis. And I went, what? So the pelvis is your butt and stuff, but it's at the bottom of your spine. So if when you're trying to, and this is important for everybody, and he kept talking about the core value. And I've been talking about core value spiritually and all for a long time. So when he started saying stuff, and oh, by the way, uh, 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 uh um, Rumsk, you ever watch South Park? The you know, and I I'm confused. I confused myself. I said Mr. Mackey, and I'm like, maybe that's not it. Uh, but anyway, at the end of every sentence is, okay. Did you understand what I said? Okay. Yeah, the old David, I hope, is back. Okay. Who's that character? Well, the wonderful man Scott came in today, and every sentence he said ended in okay. Wonderful man. Taught me a lot. It's all in the pelvis. And I've already tried to, I'm going to modify, I got to modify my behavior because 10, 15 years of learning how to stoop because of the pain, I need to stand back up, which is fine, you know? So some of my issue is I haven't been sitting posture wise straight enough with my pelvis. Guess where the pain is? It's radiating out around my pelvis. So as soon as I adjust that, and it's like 5 degrees. So this is straight up and it's offset because I can feel it is about 5 degrees, maybe 10. It's less than 15 for sure. And it might be 7-ish kind of, but the thing is, it ain't straight. And he sat right there in the chair and he showed me sideways how to pull the. It's almost like twerking, but it ain't. Where you pull your pelvis in and align it with your spine. And I stood up. It was a little painful, but I stood up and I walked across the room and I went, oh, I can see how this will work. So a lot of the issue of my pain right now is due to the fact of I've learned how to walk incorrectly to get by for so many years. That old David's got to go. That old memories of how I used to walk have got to go. And so Hawkeye and the new Dave have to train thought and the body to work in coordination to make sure that my pelvis and my lower spine is lined up. And I'm telling you, I didn't think that 5 degrees would matter. I mean, really. I walked outside before I started the stream and went, oh my God, this shit works. Oh my God, it works. So my healing is kind of sort of already there in a way, but I got to train my brain and body because it took I say it did take everything I had to make sure that they were lined up and I was still using the walker. But I got outside and I had a 1-2 pain along the way, but I went out, turned around, came back and started this video. So the power of healing, yeah, buddy. And the power of healing is also in the information that we receive. Because when he discussed the physical therapy with me and he understood that I knew what he was talking about and verified along the way. That's right, that's right. Been doing that. Watch this. So having that kind of communication with a healer, okay, physical therapists are damn sure healers. They will teach you how to walk again. Don't know about the pain factor, but they will help teach you to walk again. So the fact that they're going to come out at least once a week, but now I have something to build on from his just talking to me and being straight up with me. And it's already worked. Just I was just eating supper, but as soon as supper was over, I was like, let me get up here and see if I can make it. I got ice cream in the freezer. If I can get to the freezer, I got ice cream. It's strawberry, but I got ice cream, so let me try that technique with the pelvis thing and see if I can go get some ice cream. All right. Now it's been 2 hours and 22 minutes and 17 seconds. I really got to go. I mean, I got to get up and I got to go. And I ain't doing that on camera. Mark the arc. Yeah. 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 Um, Somebody's going to have to kick me off to get me to stop doing this. But I really, if I have to record them and not go live, like I'm just here, hit the live button and I show up with a topic. If I have to do them and then post them, there going to be stuff out there. There's going to be stuff out there that me and other people are going to be talking about um, the horrors of Medicare, but also there's a strange system going on, and it's validated by the actions of the corporations and the reactions of the patients. There is a formula out there, like for my back. It's been 3 days. Now you're going to do this. Well, why? Well, the staples are working themselves out. Okay. It is the 20, ain't it? I see you, Mark. There's still part of a button in here. So these folks were prepared that on this day we pull this bandage and we start using these. And that's when we start washing it. So that's just an example of what they know because they have done this over and over and over and over the years. So after you wear this pad for 3 days and then it starts the next cycle of healing. Well, how do they arrive at 3 days? Is my question. How do you know that 3 days is enough? Well, by their observations, obviously, by their observations and plugging it into whatever code it is that registers. Okay, we got a file over here, and this back page, great. This back patient, it's going to be okay, but at 3 days, blah blah blah. There's a note there. This patient here got infected and died. That's what happened to my friend Martha. The infection helped to kill her. Anyway, she was that's the large woman I've talked about. But so they have this data that they have collected. So before I left the hospital, 3 days, put this one on, and then you're going to go into the next portion. How do y'all know this shit? Observation again, and so they have the statistics to do it. Okay. So that's a secret to everybody else, that they have this information. I'm not saying that it's bad, but they have this information. They don't share with anyone except the people who are going to change the bandages, the nurses, just the just the personnel knows that three. Now this is not a bad. It's just it's just a. My mouth is not going to work right here in a minute. It's starting to bumble. I really wanted to finish that thought, and I don't know if I can. Now that's a daggone shame. But meds are kicking in for a damn sure that I took just a little bit ago, and I was supposed to get off of here anyways. But I'm still here for another 3 daggum hours. I love you all. I do. Uh, Observation. Oh, thank you. Help keep me on track. I really do want to just finish. But so through the observation factor of things, they have built up this. So they know if they give this medicine to people, and not because things are electronic, the observation goes into the hospital, and depending on who's there, if they're your doctor or nurse, they can access your file with those thoughts of it. Not a bad thing. It's just how heart rate, stuff like that. But it is the observation. So people are looking around. Guess what? Stick their head up out of that little hole there and whack it back down. We got to be careful. But um, the whack a mole thing there are certain things within the system that the whack a mole, stick your head up and see what's going on in the administration of the hospital. Plow. Whoop. Now, is that evil? Well, when I started asking questions, why are you throwing me out when I can't walk? Well, because of Medicare. Whoop, you stick your head and go, Medicare, what are they? How come they're cheating me? Blow, jack, down, down, whack that mole back down below so that, can't make a scene. So there's a type of whack a mole going on down in Tallahassee. When I was up in Colquitt, I'm in Archibald and Thomasville. Most everything was great with the hospitals. Now I don't know about Tallahassee. That's where my other friend is down there. And my friends down in Florida, they're in Tampa General. So currently, right now. So this is ongoing. We're talking on the phone. I'm asking specific questions. Well, did they try to throw her out yet? Well, yeah, Medicare said she had to leave. And I was like, yeah, and I had to get in touch with the patient advocate. And then they found the cancer on her colon. So it's going on not just with me. There are parallel things. There are similar things like operations and things and stuff. You got to do it now and not wait. Like the hematoma, they couldn't send me home because they had to get that shit out of me. Now in that in that blood, did I somehow get something that attached to me? why did I develop the hematoma to begin with? They said that he said he couldn't expect a better operation when he did it the first time, grinding the bone away. So, for me, how did that hematoma show up? That I really just shoot me. It hurt. Oh my God. But, after we got to do this again, Dave. This Wednesday a week. Okie dokie, if you got to do it. But the pain and waiting on that train to get there, for me as a shaman, there's all kinds of stuff in there that is going to be unraveling. It's all good. And it is like, maybe I said this earlier on in this video, but folks need to be more observant of the things that really matter and not bullshit. Honestly. Oh, what about that over there? Shut up. It got nothing to do with you. You know that a progressive commercial where the people are getting in the elevator and he's like a life coach and stuff, and they got several of them. Some of them are funny as hell to me. But to the point, some folks are doing that. They're like that person right there, like that nice lady nurse that came to take care of me. And I asked her, so you measured the incision with your paper tape there? Yes, sir. It's X amount of um, centimeters, millimeters. So I said, how long is it in inches? And she didn't know that paper tape, that the lines and the numbers on the other side of the tape were English. That it was a tape measure. Wonderful nurse, very poor. She don't know that basic thing. What's on the other side of that tape? I said, flip it over. What's that? Those are inches. you know, and one might say, you mean she was your nurse? Yeah. Well, and that ain't that kind of dumb? Well, no, but because that shows the level of things that folks are skipping over. That kind of thing isn't important. It's on the other side of the tape. Flip it over, but for whatever reason, they don't get it. They can't see it. It's right there in front of them, but it doesn't register. Right there. Bite you in the ass. Okay. Listen, folks, I love you. Observe. Big lesson for the day is observe what's around you, but don't get involved in that shit unless you have to. But if it's 20 miles away or 50 miles away, the judgment call is, do I need to worry about that shit? Or should I just keep an eye on it? There's a fire off in the distance, George, but doesn't like it's moving this way. What do you want to do? Well, Hank, I think we ought to sit here on this hill and observe that sucker for a while. Okay? Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. Yeah, we can sit here on our horses and sitting on our saddles and watching the rain come down and choke our turkeys. Okay. That's right, George. Okay. So I love you all. What? Yeah, good night, Mark. I continue to pray, and I do. It's harder when I'm under a lot of stress and pain. But I found myself, even in those painful days, I was praying for you. Lucky, how you doing? Would you consider calling me and having a conversation, please? I just because I just want to know about it, because there were events that went on at the time that I didn't talk about, that I would like to see if there is a correlation. But I don't want to discuss it here. But you're absolutely welcome to call me. 941-5117. Hi, this is Mr. Dave. Leave a message. I know what time you call and I'll be back with you. So anyway, but I do continue to wait. Um, in my prayer for you all, I found a grounding. So I have tried many different ways to control the pain in situations. And so it's all about focusing on one thing and blocking out the rest. And pretty effective in extreme conditions, I'm telling you. That sounds like a bragging, and I don't mean to be. But anyway, but to the point, though, that uh, we can take care of ourselves with our thoughts. We can observe situations and possibly avoid painful situations. So, in the pain of praying for y'all, I found solace or solace. I don't know. They was roaming around out there somewhere. One of them said he didn't have pants on. So, but to grab onto that with a thought, the pain is immense and eternal. Let's think about, you know, let's think about the prayer for Joe. Let's think about a prayer for Marie. Let's think about a prayer for Witchmoon and Michelle and Chloe and Elderberry and my monitors. So my prayers go out. So and instead of clinging to the pain or trying to reach some other entity, I was reaching out to y'all, sending you prayers, and it was comforting to me. So a lot of lessons in this trip, but I continue to pray each and every good luck. Honest, Lucky, I really would like to have a conversation. Please, I'll pay you for your time. I, I, because in the time frame of what was happening, and on, I'll just call it my end. On my end, there were things going on, and I just want to see if it was correlated. They're like, what? That happened the same day or the day after, or wow, that's close. Anyway. No, you name a time because I'm home all the time. I got nowhere to go. I can't drive right now. So it's up to you. Call me. What is best time for you, Dare? Now, afternoons and evenings are best for me. But if you want to call at 10 in the morning, I'll be taking my meds and looking for coffee, but we can still chat. No, you don't look for me in Meigs, Georgia. You won't find me. I'm in Colquitt County. Meigs is in Thomas County. I live right on the edge of two counties, actually three counties. Just above us is Mitchell County. So it's an odd place in the county. I live in the southwest corner of Colquitt County, and it just so happens that the Meigs delivery for post office includes me, but I'm actually in a different county, and But anyway, so you look for Moultrie, Lucky. I don't set my clocks forward, but I always adjust. Um, because my house is a sundial with the shadows in the windows. But anyway, um, 941-5117, area code 229. I'm in the Moultrie directory. Okay. Now you would. I don't know if you'd find me as Megs, but Moultrie directory. I've been in it for years. Okay, cool beans. All right. It's too late this morning to have a chat. Are you on Eastern, Central, or what time zone are you in? Ow. Ooh, ooh, ooh. See, I've been sitting here too long in this posture. I realized that over the years I have developed bad behavior with my spine and how I sit. But he actually said, you've done well to get this far doing what you've been doing. And then he showed me why and how, because of the pain and my lumbar squishing together, how this transitioned in my own body to the posture and the way well, I'm trying to break the habit, you know. Anyway, all right. I don't have to have a time. If you're feeling froggy, just call me. And if I'm busy, I'll say, well, nurse is here, blah, blah, blah. Call you back in 5. That's good, you know. Because if you're going to call me, then you must have time to talk. That's how I look at it. Me, nothing to hold me back. Okay. So, free bird here. So, but to wrap up the whole thing, are you tied down? Uh, does no limits mean that you're free? And you're free within your own limits. And that sounds redundant and stupid, but the physical therapist, same topic, it's still valid. It's up to you as to how far you can go. So if I felt like it, I could walk to Panacea and go fishing in the ocean. Or my limitations. I can go anywhere. The universe is open, but I might only make it to the truck, rather than the beach, which is 100 miles away. So there are different ideas and things. What is your location? How far? Do you need to travel way out there or whatever when you might just be able to travel nearby and get what you need and achieve the same goal without a bunch of whoop-de-doo. And the stuff with Wayne is, I think he's. Nah, I don't know about. I've got my suspicions with the Masons and stuff, but anyway. Um, but from just a standpoint of what he's been talking about, if he would just stick with the fact that, um, wait, I got to back up a little bit. I think he has gone down certain rabbit holes and he hasn't found anything. And he's resorting to some of this stuff with influence from somebody yakking in his ear. It could be spirits. Hey, why don't you try this? Hey, here's a good topic for your show. What about this? Because he's famous in a way. So I think he's being influenced that way. He's he knows all these things. He talks honestly a good line, but then he gets to a certain point where it's snake oil. And I'm not sure if he knows what he's saying or doing. Because those of us who have listened to him and I'm still subscribed to his channel. So and I'll drop in when I can. But that he seems afraid of something. There was something he did the other day where he was talking about something and he looked down in one of those, I don't want to talk about it. Kind of, that's too scary for me. I don't know what it was, and I don't know if anybody else noticed it. I can't recall what we were talking about or chatting about. But when he put his head down, it noticeably dropped a little more, and then it was like something happened in that moment. Don't know what. A realization, a memory, or a thought, or like, he's looking down and then down some more, like he forgot to turn off the toaster. I, it was just I observed too much, but I'm Hawkeye, you know. Yeah, no problem. 12 hours. Let's see. So that'll be about 12. That'll be about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? I'm a little messed up. Around 3 ish. We can have coffee and tea over the phone about 3 ish. And we'll light the cigarette. I'm gonna sign off with you. I love you. I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you, and I really do mean this. I know it sounds like I'm just repeating this garbage. I really mean it. That each and every day, each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. I'm always surprised. There were surprises this last operation. There were surprises from the first operation. But oh my God, stay open. 3 is okay. Cool beans. Being an old radio guy, I love interacting in the chat here and everything. But to really get to know a person, I want to hear their voice. There is so much in the voice because I've studied the voice. I've taught voice lessons. Ladies and gentlemen, hobos and tramps, cross-eyed mosquitoes, and bow-legged ants. So and I won the gold medal for the state of Georgia, and with the what you call it group I was in when I went back to school. I I won the gold medal for the best in extemporaneous speaking that year, 89 or 90. I got the medal upstairs to prove it. So it's like, yeah, I do know some shit about this, about the speaking part. But um, as far as that entity, I know you all are very perceptive out there. Um, since I put it out to y'all, little groupies right here, I mean that with love and light, bro, my tongue quit working. In that, if any thoughts come to you about why would Dave have to go back in there? Did some entity, eh, you know, or did an entity mess with me that was tied? I can't go into detail about the those folks who were literally conjuring demons against us. They did some nasty shit, and it killed her. It killed her at the age of 51. It killed her because of the darkness. Gave her lung cancer. Killed her. And part of me wants to say good riddance. But she worked with two other witchy ladies and another guy who was a suit. He wasn't really a shaman. He damn sure wasn't a witch doctor, medicine man. But he was a witch doctor in that he was scrabbling around with little things to try to impress people, and it got him and the others in trouble. Oh, let me show you how this old medicine man showed me, and poof, and the magic thing. Ooh, look at you. He ain't done shit. Um, and some of the stuff that he was doing was just downright bad. So we tried to stay away from him, but those girls migrated to him. And so they got into the black magic and they were doing spells. They were mad at Joe for teaching me when we had, it ain't their damn business what we did. And we did sweat lodges and prayers and on the river and on the land and secretly here the true witches, goddamn limit. I'm sorry, some women are just like that. They're witches. These were them. I mean, you can hear them cackle. I mean, it was fucked up and weird. I'm thinking, well, we got this. And then here they are trying to attach entities to us physically. I've learned about one where if it's like you put the magic in your hand. Well, I got this entity and it's going to Dave, and I'm going to walk around like this all day. But when I see him, I'm gonna go, "Hi, Dave. How you doing today?" and rub that entity right on in there. What? Now that's different than inviting an entity to come into your realm, stick your head up out of that whack-a-mole, right? And you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to see when you stick your damn head up through that hole as the whack-a-mole. and you don't know who's standing there with the ball bat thing going to whoop you. So go ahead, stick your head up into the other realms. Go ahead, conjure a demon or something or an entity, and watch your head get mucked up. And maybe some of those folks around you, they might hit you so hard you'll come back down and destroy those right there around you. And some of these beings that are on the upper level of our um, whack a mole thing, you want to reach into the higher realms, but you ain't got a clue what you're looking for. You think you do. So if you jump up enough times, you'll be, you jump. Oh, there it is. Oh, look at that. There's a store. Oh, look at that. There's a big old, you only get a glimpse. So it's when the equilibrium and the balance takes place that you can affect the area and you around it in whatever way is possible or not. But so we need to keep an eye on things, but stop getting involved in stuff you ain't get. And I mean that in the, oh my God, those poor people. Oh, quit whining. Send a positive prayer with Crow to wherever, quote, the injured parties are. And keep smiling. Was talking with somebody yesterday, I think. And in their voice, they were so sullen. Well, I don't know. The world's always pooing on me. And I'm like, the what did talk about getting pooed on? They cut me back open and used a pressure washer. I get it. No offense, but your little woozly woes over there, you feel they're insurmountable. And I'm trying to tell you, no, they do matter. I'm not trying asking you to ignore them, but your reaction to them, you didn't get your back slit open. Your problem is a problem, but I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to like pull rank and oh look at me no, I'm saying you're I didn't expect the hematoma. This person didn't expect this thing to happen. It wasn't a big thing. Oh, I can't believe it actually happened. Have you quit focusing on it? That's the Hawkeye thing. Observe, but keep your eye out over there. All kinds of shit's going on down here. You can pay attention. You're like, whoa, crap. Oh, look, there's three girls chasing that little wimpy guy. Oh, look, they got a ball bat. Wow, well, wonder what's going on down. You don't go. You don't worry about it. Run, motherfucker, run. They're going to catch you. you know. But in the length of things, though, you're looking over there as what's going on, too. So in the message that I'm here another hour, quit focusing your energy on these frivolous things and to swing back around to um, the snake oil stuff. Folks have, because they keep sticking their head up, they have these other ideas when they're already on the right track and everything really is groovy. They're providing a good service, but in order to continue to explore, continue to uh, I don't want to say invent, that's wrong. Well, maybe it may be that they want to invent circumstances to create whatever it is they want to create. So it's like they're praying for a baseball diamond. That's a dumb mess. Build it and they will come. I'm not quite sure about that part in this particular instance, but get them all together. What? Get them all together and throw salt on them. Okay, then if they were slugs, they would really salt them down. Oh, a little pepper, and you eat it like squid. Okay, calamari, everybody. Never mind. You can tell I'm high or low, depending on your point of view. But in this grand scheme of thing of being in prison, free your mind. Quit thinking about, oh my God, everybody's against me, the government. And they are, but quit worrying about it. What are you going to do? Now, I intend to do some videos and things, and let's see if we can't do a grassroots change. Because some of y'all ain't elderly, but you're going to be. God forbid something happen, something might happen. But along the way, this is going to be you at some point. You're going to have to learn how to get old. You're going to, and I don't mean AARP either, because them sons of bitches are a conspiracy. They don't talk about none of this in their brochures. It's all about sunny days and RVs. So much for the great AARP helping the seniors. Raspberries. Raspberries, strawberries, raspberries, strawberries, the good wines we choose. Here's to the girl of the countryside, the one we drink them to. Kingston Trio, 1967. But anyway, I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn, to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many, the blessings from the universe. And in that law of three, I continue to say for you and me, it's for our safety with this law of three. We need to get together and be in harmony. We need to get together and share our energy. Yeah, okay, our light, but just share our energy with a smile. So, in that, I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings. And lucky if you haven't signed off, I'll see you tomorrow at about 3-ish. Okay. I love you all. Good night, Michelle. And anybody and everybody else that might be in here at the end of this. God love you all. Thank you for all the prayers for healing. It's truly working. Peace and cheers.